Welcome back to another edition of SVG's Sports Tech On Demand. I'm Dan Daly, SVG's audio editor. And today I've got the pleasure of speaking with Martin Dyster, Vice President, Business Development at Telos Alliance. Hi, Martin. How are you?
Hi, Dan. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you. Yeah, very well. Thanks. Yeah, that's all good. All
good to
considering.
Yeah, right. You have to add that as an addendum to every response to that question.
Yeah.
As good as possible under the circumstances.
Quite, absolutely.
Well, good. Hopefully the next time we see each other, we'll be at a trade show. In the meantime, let's take a walk into the cloud today. Yes, we're going to be talking about the Telos VIP, as in Virtual Intercom Platform today.
Yep, absolutely.
Tell us about it.
So, well, we launched Telos Infinity as a hardware intercom platform back in 2018 at NAB, and what was very different about Infinity was it's a fully featured broadcast intercom system with no central matrix. So that's 3 years ago we've launched that, and it doesn't seem like yesterday. And as I say, the big thing about that was an intercom system based around hardware with no central matrix. And by having that capability, it adapted well to remote broadcasting, and it's sold pretty well. But as we moved into 2020, and we all got sort of caught out by the pandemic, of course, we got a lot of feedback from customers. We're interested in using your hardware solution in a way that it's intended, for these kind of remote broadcast models. It has that capability built in, but we'd really like to be using something cloud-based, something soft-based. And as a company, Telos had always had this in mind. It hadn't been sort of front and foremost in our thinking in terms of the roadmap, and the pandemic really accelerated that. And part of the beauty of being of having a product based around a decentralized model is, and this sounds rather more simple than the R&D guys would have me say it. It's kind of like taking the software out of the hardware devices, as I say, all individual devices on a network with no central core, taking the software out of the middle of those devices, finding a way to create a virtual platform out of them. And in doing so, we discovered the technology of containerization called Docker. So we took the software from the hardware product, say in very simple terms again, created a Dockerized version of the product that could then be managed in a cloud server, and turned it into the product that we've launched called VIP. So in simple terms, it is taking the individual hardware devices. If you need a 16-panel system, deploying 16 Docker containers on a server platform, creating a VLAN on the server platform, and running in them in very much the same way as we do the hardware product. So that distributed model of communication is maintained, but those panels, of course, have to be accessed by users, otherwise they're absolutely useless. So each panel has a web server. The system as a whole has a web server, and by simply sending somebody an invitation to connect to a panel, it opens up a browser connection direct into that virtual panel. It uses WebRTC audio or WebRTC connection technology, Opus support, to give you a direct access to a virtual panel. So what you have in front of you is a software version of an Infinity panel running in the cloud, using your own browser, using your own audio tools on your computer or your phone, or your laptop or your tablet, to communicate with the other devices that are on the server. That of course in its own right is a closed environment, and that's not going to work for everybody, of course. Intercom is a subsystem within broadcast, a hugely important one, but it relies on connectivity to the rest of the audio production system. So of course you need connectivity from a mixing console or an audio router. You need mix minuses, talent pre-hear mics. You need connectivity to camera positions and stuff like that. So what we also did in virtualizing the panel technology is virtualized Infinity Link, which is a codec technology which converts, in its hardware form, converts audio over IP or AES67 to Opus, and then can be used for VoIP connectivity over WAN. But we virtualized that in the same way. We containerized it so it can be installed on the VIP server, and that gives you connectivity outside of the realm of the panel space, and that can be used for connectivity within the cloud, so to other cloud services, cloud-based audio mixers, cloud routers, cloud production systems from various companies that are in that space, but also wide area network connectivity to on-prem systems. So, let's say, for argument's sake, somebody's using another intercom brand, they're using a console from our friends at Calrec, Lavo, Studer, StageTech, SSL, and they need to get mixed minuses from a hardware device into the cloud. That's where Infinity Link comes in. So we have a fully featured, fully integrated, and now a proven technology solution that pulls together the on-premise world, the cloud environment, and products from all other brands, including our own, working in a truly scalable and agile space.
You mentioned that the pandemic accelerated a lot of the things that you've been talking about here in terms of product development and whatnot.
Yeah,
it certainly accelerated remote production, and it certainly has accelerated virtualization of systems, and it seems to have moved things even further into the cloud. Did the speed, the rapidity of this transition, is it manageable for the industry? Did it move a little faster, perhaps, than a lot of people expected it to? Because
I think so. What I see talking to customers, and with VIP, it's been the buzz around it's been huge. So I'm talking to a lot of customers. Everybody's sort of clamoring for a very similar kind of solution. It's caused vendors to make a double take. We're in a lucky position. We don't rely on a central chunk in the middle to be able to do what some of the competing brands do. So we didn't have to virtualize an entire matrix to do that. But the speed of it has been incredibly quick. And I think one of the things that we've learned is that people are using whatever tools they can find to make do, compromising perhaps the production standards. I don't really want to say it quite like that, but at least using products that they wouldn't normally have gone near to do some of this stuff. I mean, there aren't an awful lot of cloud audio mixers out there. There's not a lot of choice when it comes to intercom. So, there's been a lot of use of Zoom in broadcast, not just for contribution, but for production comms. Been use of tools that are previously only really used in esports. Well, not even esports productions, but just people gaming, gaming comms. Consoles like Reaper, a DAW console, because it can be deployed in the cloud, being used for TV production. So, the space is vast to fill up with requirements for the global industry, and it's moved at a pace that I don't think any of us could have anticipated.
Are the standards there that you need, that the industry needs for this transition?
What do you mean by standards? I mean, particularly.
Well, the industry-wide standards. In other words, remember the transition that we made from stereo to multi-channel, et cetera, and then we knew we needed a new set of standards for that, particularly for broadcast. Did the speed with which we've transitioned these types of systems into the cloud, into virtualization, were what you needed in place already? Was what you needed in place already, pretty much?
Yeah, I think so. I think what you can say about that is the transition to IP has helped a great deal. A lot of the lessons learned with IP have extended themselves into the cloud, because a lot of that can be reused. I mean, particularly within the cloud, AES67 multicast won't you can't really connect it between data centers. You can't even really connect it between virtual machines in the same data center. But at least if you're running on the same CPU, you can build an audio over IP infrastructure using AES-67, as we've done with VIP, and it wouldn't have been. We'd have had to invent something to do that if we didn't already have it. We've got Opus is an open standard that we can use. It's a developed codec for cloud to on-prem to in cloud connectivity. So there's a lot of stuff we didn't have to reinvent to make this work.
Good. You answered the question better than I put it. So I appreciate that. Just to wrap up, any sports event coming up that Telos is going to be integrated within?
Well, I mean, one of the sports broadcasters that's been using Infinity for Remy production for a while now is IMG in the UK. They've been using the hardware product. We're doing a lot of proof of concept stuff. Some of that actually can't really mention any of it because it's under NDA specifically, but we are talking to a number of sports broadcasters about the possibility of using VIP for productions. It's quite an extensive list, so I hope to be able to tell you more about that next time we speak. But a lot of these are proof of concepts, and again, customers figuring out what the tools are that they can pull together to make this stuff work. And we're very happy to be able to present them with a fully rounded intercom piece in the middle, while they look for the other parts to join onto it to make it reality.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for taking the time today, Martin. We really appreciate it and hope to get to see you in person sometime very soon.
Yeah, I hope so too, Dan. And yeah, stay safe, and thanks for your time. Cheers.
Well, you too. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.